I think we're going. Good morning. It's morning in Japan for you, right?
It is morning. It's 11:35. It's getting to my hungry time.
Oh, wow. I just had my Sunday dinner.
Uh,
And it's Monday lunchtime for you. So welcome. And Tyrone, I'm just making sure we are live in the group. Super excited to have you talk to us a little bit about your expertise with LinkedIn and how you've used it to monetize some of your passion projects. I've been hearing a lot from millennials that aren't quite sure what exactly LinkedIn can be for them. So, like I said, we'll appreciate your perspective. And we are
sure.
live now. So, yeah, why don't you go ahead and give us a brief introduction of yourself and how you became a LinkedIn expert guru.
Yeah, guru. Ooh, don't we hate getting called that right now? Everyone says guru. They're like, So, yeah, look, I've been on LinkedIn since April 2004. So probably for some of your millennials, that's, some of them probably more than half their lives. And when it first came on the scene, I was in my 20s, and I quickly recognized that it was a platform that you could just get in there and could create your own audience, and then you could monetize that audience, and no one could compete with you in the sense. This is before the whole blue ocean strategy of rather than competing in a marketplace where there's all these other sharks eating up everything, you could actually create your own space that no one can replicate, right? Because you're connecting with a certain amount of people, types of people that you want, and you can have privacy settings so no one can see your connections if you really want to go that route. So you're actually creating your own network that no one can replicate, no one that can compete against you, and that you can then take off LinkedIn and put them into your other sales funnels, whether it's, if you use ClickFunnels or if you have any other kind of sales funnel process that you have, you're able to take them off, own them, start your marketing sequences to them, your emailing sequences. You're able to do anything with them once you've connected with them. And that's what's unique about LinkedIn, that it's also it's the place where business people hang out. Now, in America, I'm sure most of your audience are American based. It's a global market, I'm sure, but literally 70% of American business people are on LinkedIn. 70%. And worldwide, 30% of the total world's business people are on LinkedIn. So you've got this pool of people that are all there, that any conversation that you have when you're talking about business, it's a natural conversation because they're there for business or for networking. Whereas Facebook, we're interrupting people all the time with messages. And, I go on Facebook to, look at videos of people hurting themselves, or, seeing what my family's doing, or, have a look at a cute cat. The last thing I want to see is someone trying to pitch me a business idea, right? It's just like, this is not the place. But LinkedIn is the place. Now, millennials are currently the worst served people on LinkedIn. They are the smallest group of people. There's something like, there's still like 80 million of you. So there's still a lot. But as a percentage of the total platform, it's still quite small. And you've got to think there's 500 million users on LinkedIn now, business users.
500 million. Wow.
500 million, yeah. And it is growing every day. There's more and more growth. And if you are selling as a millennial entrepreneur or business person, and you are selling internet services, marketing services, content strategy services, whatever, you have an advantage because you were born in the digital age. Like, it's always been around you. And, I'm 40 something, 43 or something. And, I saw the internet come in when I was in my 20s, right? And saw it and wow, this is kind of cool. So it's something I've had to learn. It wasn't just around me at all times. So you have an advantage of when you pitch these business ideas that are digital based and online based, that you've got instant credibility to a degree because, older people, 40s and above, they're looking at you like, what are they talking about? But it works, but they don't understand the PPC or SEO or sales funnel or whatever.
Sure.
But where you lack in many of the cases is really understanding how to engage, how to find decision makers. Because in the B2B space, right, decisions aren't made by one person. It is very rare that it's one person making the decision to buy something, a program or sell. Normally in an organization, it's around 5 to 6 people are involved in a decision, right? Even if you're a CEO, president of a company, it's really a matrix of people that are making a decision. Now, what LinkedIn allows you to do as one of these cool millennials that have got great ideas is to be able to identify who's going to be in that decision-making process and actually connect with every single one of them, right? And start getting your content in front of them. You're doing updates. And then when you go in for the sell and you it's natural, it's social, you're using your social talents to get in there with the right person. But when they go to their mate in their company and say, I just met, Hanna, she's got these awesome ideas, blah, blah, and they're like, actually, I'm connected with her. Yeah, I see her updates, right? So you can strategize and you can make sure that the people that you can connect with the president, then the head of marketing, the head of sales, the head of communications or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're all they don't know that, they haven't paid attention that, they're all connected. But when you have that conversation with them and when they have those internal conversations, I tell you now, there's a high chance that there's going to already be awareness of you if you're doing it well and correctly on LinkedIn, that instead of being neutral, you're going to have already a positive from that very start, because they're like, oh yeah, actually I know that person. Yeah, she shares stuff about this, and like, oh, okay, cool. Right. It just makes a whole different dynamic. Visibility can be huge, can be absolutely.
Yeah. So I think what you said at the beginning about, that LinkedIn offers this sort of professional space to get to know people, and you can then move them off of LinkedIn. And you're talking about sales funnels, or, a lot of people in this group have programs or services that they can just start offering to people. And I think that a lot of us in this group, millennials in general, maybe, are thinking Facebook is just fine for that. So if you are watching this right now and you're not really sure how to use LinkedIn, but you're trying to use Facebook as your networking platform, just drop a comment, because I'm curious how many others are struggling with how to use LinkedIn as a professional networking space when we already have Facebook. So can you talk a little bit about why we need a transition?
Yeah, sure. Look, with any in all the years that I've been doing business, and certainly in the B2B space, you have to risk mitigate, right? You have to have multiple channels of leads coming in, because if you've got a program and you think it's pretty cool and you're just using Facebook, and someone comes in with a better project, better program, they've got more money to outspend you on ads, you're going to find that your leads dry up pretty quick. Right? If you haven't mitigated any risk of your lead generation, you're in trouble. So you've got to have multiple channels. So yeah, you can have the Instagram and all these other ones, but LinkedIn is one where, as I mentioned at the start, you get to create your actual audience, and you're able to, and everyone in your audience can be your ideal potential client, right? It's not like you run an ad, it gets shown to 50,000 people and 0.05% click on it, right?
Like Facebook.
Like Facebook, but you can actually connect to thousands of people over a period of time on LinkedIn. And then you can get that 40, 50, 60, 70, 80% even on response rates to your messages, right? Because if you curate it right, and if you do it well, you're talking to real people. Behind every profile is a real person, and you have all this data on them. You have more data on them. If they're in a group but not your friend, you can't see so much about a person, right, on Facebook. But on LinkedIn, as soon as their connection, I see every single thing about them. I have so many data points that I can start conversations. I can start interactions with them. I can feed them information that's going to be relevant to them, and I can ask them, what do you want? What do you need help with? So it's really building, and I think for millennials, they get worried that it's very, it's like Facebook in a suit, right? And you've got to act a certain way. Yeah. But the thing is, as soon as you get in the messenger, everyone gets naked again, right? It gets really right? People just will be like talking like, hey. it's this really interesting dichotomy that happens, that you've got this, everyone's really formal on the front, but as soon as you get them into their message box, they open up. And that's when you guys as millennials who are, you're great at texting, you're great at that kind of communication, you can really impress people and then move them and say, okay, uncover the truth with these people, build the rapport with these people, uncover their problem, and then ask them, like, hey, I've helped other people with that kind of problem. Would you like to know? And they're like, yeah, I'd love you to be able to help me. Boom.
Yes,
it's a whole different, it's huge, right? It's a whole different paradigm when they're saying, help me. And that's what you get. That's what you get on LinkedIn. Now,
when you undress LinkedIn.
When you undress,
I like that.
When you undress, get them off their suit. But you've got to be careful. I coined a term called the value vomit, and the value vomit is what I see on LinkedIn all the time. Is that someone will, I see it coming a mile away. Someone will like one of my posts, maybe 2 or 3 posts. Then I get the connection. I know it's coming. Then I get the connection request. I accept. I look at their profile, and it's just this horrible looking profile. And then the next thing I get in my message box is this like list of, here's a link to this, here's a link to that, because someone's teaching, well, everyone's teaching out there, provide value, but you're getting it wrong. You're providing vomit. You are value vomiting because you don't know what their problem is, right? It's like going into the doctors and you walk in there and you've got a sore elbow, but the doctor says, hey, I'm going to cut your toe off. And you're like, but my elbow is a problem.
All the evidence.
Yeah. But
so I love this. I just want to break it down a little bit. So as we are out there looking for people, I think a lot of folks are familiar that you can search for people in your industry, or like an example, there's a lot of bloggers in this group. So maybe you're a travel blogger and you go network with other people that are interested in travel. You connect with them. And then you're encouraging a real person, organic message. And you're saying that's where you can get to know someone that might, end up working with you, collaborating, helping you with a project, instead of just thinking you have to have the perfect profile line or, have everyone validate you. You're really encouraging more of the one-on-one conversation on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. I mean, people worry. This is one thing, one of the shifts that you have to make on LinkedIn to really make it work, is that you've got to get rid of the small player syndrome or the imposter syndrome, whatever you're suffering. And a lot of millennials, and when you start business and you don't have the testimonials and recommendations and network, the only thing you have is your ability to say, you have a problem and I am awesome at fixing that problem. And I can fix it for you. And I can show you how to do it. And it doesn't matter if you've been doing it for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and have got 1,000 people saying he's great. To that person, you are the problem solver. They're laying up at night waiting for someone like you to come and solve their problem. And I see it on LinkedIn a lot, that people are always worried, like, oh, I don't have enough experience. I don't have this. I don't have testimony. You don't need it. It helps later on as you grow. But you can approach these people one-on-one and build that rapport, and then sell a solution to them. Sell the solution to them, and they will accept it and they will run with it. Now, you're giving a great example about travel bloggers. Like, okay, it's great to have a travel blog, but awesome. But wouldn't it be great to have sponsorship by Red Bull, or sponsorship by Condé Nast, or sponsorship by GQ, right? Well, how do you do that? Well, you connect with the right people. There's different strategies you can use to get them actually then coming to you and saying, hey, can you help us with that? But it all starts by having real intent when you go onto LinkedIn and building your network that is based on what you're trying to get out of it as well, right? So you don't just connect with everyone. It's just a waste of time. You connect with the people that you want, and you only deal with the people that you want. And that saves you a hell of a lot of time as well, because as business owners and entrepreneurs, we don't have hours and hours and hours to be on LinkedIn. It's, you know,
Right.
it's
And
boring.
it's overwhelming for a lot of people. And yes, it's boring.
It's boring and it's overwhelming. So you have to go in there with real intent each time. So when you turn on LinkedIn, you know, another thing you've got to get in your mind, you've got to have a workflow process. You've got to have, it's like a checklist for a pilot, right? They don't start the plane and fly off. You know, they sit there and they're like, okay, flaps. Yeah. You know, we've seen the movies. We all can fly planes, right? Because, you know, we've seen the checklist. But that's what you've got to have yourself. So when you turn on LinkedIn, you say, okay, today my mission is to connect with 10 editors of 10 magazines that specialize in travel in Asia. And that's what you do. And you go through, okay, the first thing I have to do is research. Number 2, I then need to craft a contact message. Number 3, I need to have a message that I'm going to follow up with the connection with.
Yeah.
And you have it all in place. And then literally just go through your checklist. And that way you can get in and out of LinkedIn real quick. Less than an hour a day, but doing that activity daily, consistently, with intent, you will get non-stop leads. You will get people that you can speak to. So every day you turn on your LinkedIn, you've got messages, you've got requests, and it builds and builds and builds on itself. But if you go in there for one day and then you don't do it for a week, and it's impossible. And that's why people say, well, LinkedIn's boring and I can't get results and it doesn't work. Well, of course. You know, anything is like that if you're not consistent. But that's the thing. People get turned off because they're not consistent. And then they get, you know, they say, well, this sucks.
And it seems overwhelming. Yeah, but what you just said, like maybe like an hour a day, if you're really committed to making connections on LinkedIn, have your checklist of what's my mission, who are the people that I'm looking for. I love that what you said. If you're, you know, you can't talk to everyone and you can't be looking for anyone. So just anyone. So finding really specifically who it is you want to connect with, whether it's, you know, people that will help you get your next job or people that will vouch for your blog or people that will buy your socks. You know, we have all sorts of entrepreneurs and ideas in this group. Then sending them those personalized messages and following up and keep showing up and be a real person and build real relationships, even though we are in this online space and LinkedIn sometimes gets that rap that it's impersonal.
Yeah, for sure.
We have to make it.
Oops, sorry, I've just lost you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there's a little delay. Yeah. I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. I just saw a comment come up that it was rude to connect with people you don't know or something like that. Part of the comment cut off, so I couldn't quite see it. But the point is, when is it rude to walk into a doctor's office and ask them to help you? No. If you're right, it's not rude to do that. Now, this is the same on LinkedIn. If you construct an optimized profile, a profile that shows you as an expert in your space, and as an authority in your space, which you can do quite quickly. It doesn't involve years and years of, as I said, experience. You can craft a message and change. And this is another major shift you need to do. You need to change your LinkedIn from a career online CV to a client-facing sales promotion board. It's like media, right? LinkedIn is not a career job site. LinkedIn is the largest business platform, media platform in the world. And you have exactly the same amount of space as the most celebrated people on earth. You know, there's some influencers, but if you look, like if you're in ClickFunnels group or a ClickFunnels user, for example, if you go online on LinkedIn and look at Russell Brunson's LinkedIn profile, it's horrible. He's not making 1 cent from LinkedIn, I guarantee you. Same thing, you look at Tai Lopez, you know, the guy that sells, he's everywhere. You click on YouTube, he's everywhere. You look at his profile, it is rubbish. It is CV based.
Wow.
If you're a keynote speaker or an investor, you could outrank him on LinkedIn. You look at authors. If you're a blogger or a writer, Malcolm Gladwell, you know, Being and Outliers, all these great books. His profile, it's abysmal, right? It's just horrible. So you can actually outrank these people on LinkedIn, get more visibility, get more eyes on your profile than the celebrities of the industry. Yeah.
And just by having the personalized messages, you're saying we don't have to have a perfect profile?
No. you have to have a profile, but you've got to change your profile from a CV based on like, I'm responsible for this, I've done. No one cares. Now, if you're trying to sell or promote a product, if you were searching for your service on LinkedIn and you have your title as, entrepreneur, who's searching for that? It has no meaning. So this is one tactic that your fans can do instantly is you have to go to your profile and you have to look at the titles that you have on your profile. And if it says just one thing like entrepreneur or business owner or marketing director, that is going to get you nowhere real quick. What you've got to do, and because you're thinking CV, what you've got to do is think, what product or service do I have? And how would someone find me on Google? Just think of Google, because LinkedIn is the same. The algorithm for searching and bringing results is kind of similar in certain ways. And you can use the LinkedIn search bar, or you can actually search on Google, because what you'll notice that Google indexes LinkedIn because LinkedIn is an authority site. It's been around for 14 years. It is powerful. So if you rank high on LinkedIn, you will rank number one in Google. So one of my businesses, I've got multiple businesses. One of them is a recruiting business. Now, if someone goes to Google and they put, advertising and media recruiter in Asia, I'm going to come up number one, right?
Wow.
Because I come up number one in LinkedIn, I come up number one on Google. So what you have to do with your titles is get rid of your ego, like owner, president, CEO, entrepreneur, and replace it with what you actually provide. So it can be, for me, it's like advertising recruiter, advertising in media in Asia. It's the key words that people actually search for. And then in your description, you can include, hey, I founded my company and blah, 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 whatever. But if your titles are just using these one-word titles, it has no context, has no meaning. You actually have 30 character spaces, I think, or even more, maybe 100 character spaces available for you on the title section of your LinkedIn. So the best way is to think about 5 keywords.
Phrases.
5 keywords or phrases that people would use to find you, and then think of another 3 or 4 that are lesser known, right? Some people have variations on how they would find you. And then, you can look at Google keywords to help you, or you can just go on Google and Google it and see what comes up, or LinkedIn, and get those keywords that are based on what you provide, what you do, and craft them and weave them into your title. Right? Because the title is what's indexed by Google. Now, the beautiful thing about it, you have all these experience sections, right? Where you worked before. Now, who made the rules of LinkedIn? We don't know, but we follow this kind of like rule. And it's like, why are we following? We don't even know who made them. No one's enforcing them. Maybe some old 60-year-old that says, this is not appropriate for LinkedIn. Who cares? Like, take that to the bank, mate. But you can go back through your profile and you just edit your titles out. Like if you're a social media person, I would have in my title, social media expert, maybe, I don't know, what are some other keywords for social media? It could be, digital content or content creation, whatever those keywords. Online marketing. And then I would go back in my previous job. If I was working for the man and I had a previous job, even if I went on Facebook when I was at work, that's enough for me to say I was doing online social media. So I would change my title there as well to the same keywords. Now, if you have every job where you have these same keywords titled, and they're relevant, of course, when someone searches, you will notice that you start to get ranked higher and higher and higher on LinkedIn, to eventually you'll be the top spot. When someone searches for what you offer on LinkedIn in their network, you're going to come up number one just by changing your titling. Yeah. And then that can affect Google. You can get, I'm ranked for Google for like top advertising media recruiter in Asia, advertising recruiter in Japan, advertising media recruiter in APAC. These are all, I'm number one in Google. I've never spent a dime on it. And you look where the URL is, it links back to LinkedIn. Now, I don't own LinkedIn, so I can't do pay-per-click to get that. It just naturally happens when you are active on LinkedIn and you are using the platform right. it's magical. So
you are blowing my mind. I see people commenting that I totally have a CV. I write I copy and pasted my resume in college to create my
right,
LinkedIn. If anyone else did that, please comment, because I'm pretty sure I was taught to do that in college.
Yeah,
and you're
everyone. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do that. Show what services you provide, what problems you solve, and use key phrases instead of titles on your profile. And
Absolutely.
you'll be showing up in all sorts of search engines and starting to be recognized as, the social media expert or whatever you type yourself as.
Yeah, wow. And you really can, out compete, the big boys. So if you're new to your industry and you're kind of worried about it, like, oh, I don't want to see, it doesn't matter. Just get in there, because I tell you what, some of the big names, they're using it wrong and they're not making any money off it. And it's crazy, because it's, for me, for 151 straight months, it's been a five-figure revenue maker, 151 months. Okay. So you can be on it, and generate money. And I don't understand why, like, people like Ty Lopez and stuff. I mean, they make a lot of money, but damn, there's millions that are sitting there for them, and they just haven't done anything with it. It's crazy. You've got this, because they're thinking as well, wow, it's very formal and I've got to be like this, and I got no. You millennials are awesome in the sense that, the old rules, you're thinking, stuff that, I don't want to follow them anymore. So do the same on LinkedIn. Get in there and use it the way that you want to use it, and use it as a tool to promote yourself. Now, there's a balance though. You have to be really careful that you don't go too salesy, right? Because this is still Selling Made Social. You can see my shirt, Selling Made Social.
Oh, this is still name. We can see.
This is still Selling Made Social, right? That it has to be done naturally. Now, the communication online, and this applies for Facebook, this applies for LinkedIn. A lot of people, as I said, they're doing that value bombs, which are just horrible, and I call them value vomits. You've got to emulate real life in your communications. So when you meet someone for the first time in real life, you don't walk up to them and say, "Hi, I'm Tyron Giuliani. I was born in 1974. In 1998, I moved to Tokyo, and then I did this." And then you don't do that in real life, right? But that's what people do online all the time, on every platform. These emails that you get are just atrocious. Everyone thinks, I'm offering value, I'm offering value. You're not. You're boring me, and you're just inappropriate. Yeah. Think about when you meet someone at a networking event for the first time. Like, really think about it. Do you walk up? What do? You normally walk up, you make a question, you make an observation, or you make a statement. And they're normally like really short. And then that person makes a short answer, statement, observation, and you go back and forth about 3 or 4 cycles, like that. And then it gets deeper. People are just missing all that rapport building and going straight to, like, here's a solution, here's an offer, buy this, and it's just so wrong. So whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you're doing that messaging and connection with a contact, emulate real life, and right down to the very, parts of the communication, like really, really, people are like, okay, I'm emulating real life. And then some of my students send me a note, like, I'm going to send this as a connection. Like, that's not emulating real life. Again, you're value vomiting all over me, like 4 sentences about this and that. It's not. It's short, sharp, snappy. It's getting people to engage with you, and then naturally weaving in a solution to a problem that you uncover with them. And LinkedIn allows you to do that day in, day out, nonstop, and for free as well, right? You don't have to pay any advertising money. You can do these strategies for free that are just executed, and you can automate a lot of it as well, but not with the horrible bots that we see now that are starting, with actual proper, well-crafted messaging that looks natural, that then you take over very quickly rather than leaving it to a robot to do, or a chatbot. But yeah, look, it's been an awesome.
So many more tools. Yes. But I think what you're talking about that we can start implementing today, this week, is carving out some time, like you mentioned, to go in with your mission and intentionally connect like a real person. This group hears that all the time. You know, be real, go get to know other people, use your communication skills, even in online spaces. Offer some value, but don't vomit.
No value
And
vomits.
change. No, yeah, I totally agree. I get that too. Like all these hyperlinks. And sometimes I think, like, if I met you in person, like, would this be on your business card, or is this like, let me throw everything? Like, yeah.
They've got like these brochures and like, here you go, like pick them up.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for that. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. So make those real connections. They will get deeper if they're meant to be. And people could also find you more easily if you're changing the face of your profile, moving away from what we don't like about LinkedIn, that like resume stuffy BS, and showing more of like the value and the key phrases that you're an expert or well-versed in.
Yeah. And to start, you know, before you get in there and start, you know, stomping around in LinkedIn, really go to your profile and make those changes. Because if you're sending out a message to the market and to the people you connect with, and it's not congruent with your actual profile, people are going to look like you're selling social marketing services and you are a nurse. You know, it just doesn't make sense. So you've got to make sure that they're aligned. And when you put your information on LinkedIn itself in the summaries and in the profiles, the best thing I found is to structure it in a way that allows the reader to be guided through your profile, just like a sales funnel, right? Where you make the use of subheadings and, you know, and symbols. So people are like, okay, they can decide what they read or not. But if you just have a chunk of paragraphs, like boom, boom, you're like, oh, I don't want to read that. Right. But if you've got little headings, just by changing that to guiding a viewer of your profile has a dramatic impact on people actually taking action with you, connecting with you, and responding to messages. So, you know, you can, if you want an example of a profile, go to Google, put advertising and media recruiter in Asia. You can even put top advertising and media recruiter in Asia, and I'll come up number one, Tyron Giuliani, or click to LinkedIn, go there. You'll see how I structured it. And I don't use LinkedIn like other people. I've got call to actions in there. You'll be able to see that, because it's not just about putting all your experiences. You get to craft. You can make the LinkedIn platform, the profile, any way you want. In fact, you don't have to make it this CV. You can craft segments in there which are call to actions, right? Awesome. You can have booking phone sessions. You could have, hey, download this. You can have a lot of passive stuff on there that's not CV related, but it's like a landing page. Basically, you can recreate your landing page, your business landing page inside LinkedIn. That's what you can do.
Well, I'm going right to your profile after this, and I would encourage everyone else to go, check out Tyron's profile. And I just want to make a quick note. We're talking a lot about, you know, business strategies and ClickFunnels. And would you say, though, that creating a network on LinkedIn would work even if you are looking for a desk job, or you are just looking for even like a volunteer opportunity? Do you think that making these changes are beneficial for other types of connections besides just, you know, finding clients or running your business?
You know, if you're not in a position yet to become, you know, a full-time entrepreneur, and you're, you know, whatever reason, and you want to get expertise. I mean, you know, to become a good entrepreneur, sometimes it's awesome to have experience inside a world-leading company and learn from the masters. You know, if you want to have an e-com shop, wouldn't it be great to work in Amazon for a couple of years? You know, it kind of makes sense. But the same thing, you've got to structure it in a way with intent. So if your intent is to get a job in an e-commerce company, then you've got to structure your profile so it focuses on that. And of course, I mean, LinkedIn was originally made as this kind of online career site, which has morphed and morphed and morphed into what it is today. And that's why Microsoft bought it for $26 billion, because it's all about the sales. 80% of B2B leads come from LinkedIn, right? That's the research, 80%. So, and Microsoft saw that, and that's why they purchased LinkedIn. So that's why when you turn on like Windows 10 now, you'll see there's you can integrate your LinkedIn right into the start button of Word now. You can get notifications in that. So there's going to be more and more of this happening.
Wow.
LinkedIn is going to become more prevalent because now Microsoft, they need to monetize this, right? So yeah, for career stuff, if it's about you just building your own career because you're not ready to be a full-time entrepreneur, then LinkedIn is absolutely, it's, you know, fundamentally it was made for that. But what I've done is that I've made strategies to layer on top of it, which you know, are just as powerful, but using it in a different way. But certainly for having a structured profile, same thing. Don't just have a list of responsibilities and, you know, no one cares about that. Talk about outcomes on your profile, and again, you know, offer some kind of value even on that profile, that when people come to, that they can maybe have a look if they want to, rather than just like forcing it on people in a message. But yeah, you can certainly structure your career site so it looks, you know, use imagery. This is another thing. You can add media to your profile. Now, you know, you millennials are awesome at video stuff and imagery and all that. Like, stack your profile with that. You know, a picture, as I say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Like, use it. Every section of your profile, use imagery, use the video function if you're comfortable with that. Because again, probably about 97% on LinkedIn aren't doing that. They just put in their CV. Like, why not connect it to the school you went to? Maybe you're at some event and, you know, you gave a guest, you know, you were speaking to a hobby club. Maybe in your previous company you did, you know, you're in advertising, you helped them make a new ad for Nike. You know, you put that in your profile. You can do all that. So encourage those that are, for everyone to use the media, upload media into it and make your page, you know, interesting.
Stand out.
Yeah, stand out. But in a good way, not in like a horrible, like salesy banner that says, you know, I get, you know, some of them are just so horrible. And I know, like, I'm not connecting this person because as soon as I do, I know they're going to value vomit all over me. So I avoid it. So you've got to find that balance of just being too salesy and then like being the authority and the professional. And you'll get a sense. It's more of a feel. And this is where I think millennials, you've got more empathy than I think probably some of us that are a little bit older, because you've been brought up in, you know, working together and collaborating and all this kind of stuff, that when I look at a profile, I have a feel. I have that gut feeling like, oh, that's like, that's a good test, right? If you're looking at a profile and you think, yeah, you know, change your profile, right? If you see it, if you feel it, and ask, you know, get 3 of your friends and say, hey, go on my profile. What's the feeling you get instantly when you look at my profile? And if it's like, oh, it's really salesy, boo, you want to change that.
Awesome. Yes, we can have that happen in this group too. I would love to see people go check out Tyrone's profile, make some changes, and share it in here. I would love to see us, giving each other that gut feeling to see if we're standing out in the right ways and, you know, showing the right stories, the right media, the right expertise, so that we can connect with people that will either get us that next job connection or sponsor us or lead us to whatever we need.
And the good thing, I think, if more and more millennials get on it, you know, you have the power to change, to make change in so many aspects of this world, which is just awesome to watch. And, you know, I work with a whole heap of millennials in one of my businesses, and they're just awesome. They, you know, they've got a different perspective than what I have. And I think I'm pretty, progressive, but then when you speak to younger people, they're like, oh, okay, wow, that's something I hadn't thought of. Now, it means that, you know, you guys are the next ones coming through LinkedIn. So yeah, encourage it, change the way people use it and think about it by you being the leader and making those changes. And if there's a core group of you, as I said, there's 80 million millennials, but if they start to use it in the way that they're interested in and excites them, it will change the platform. So, you know, get in there and start using it the way you want to use it. Don't follow the rules. Who knows who made them, and who cares if some old bloke is telling you, like, I didn't want to see that on LinkedIn. Like, well, don't watch it. You know, disconnect. Boom, you're gone. Don't worry about it. There's always going to be haters. So you get to create. You've got to see it as this is free media space. Like, this is online media space that is on a site that is it's a heavy authority site, right? LinkedIn. when you type someone's name, usually the first link will actually go to LinkedIn in most cases, unless you got like a real common name, right? That's because LinkedIn is so well established now. So it is an authority site, and you get to, you get extra juice from the same squeeze. Basically, you get to use their authority to make you stand out. So use it.
Wow.
They've spent the millions and millions, billions, getting where they are. So just piggyback on them.
I think that's going to resonate with a lot of people in this group, how much power we have to use it how we want. And we're not really rule followers here from what I've seen. We're looking to change our status quo, do things a little bit differently, and it can apply to LinkedIn. So I love all of the tangible steps you've given us. So many things that we can start working today to improve our presence on LinkedIn. And if people have questions or want to hear more from you, it's, you've got 14 years of experience. How can the group connect with you again?
Yeah, so to find me on LinkedIn is pretty easy. As I said, I mean, you can do my name, but it's Tyron Giuliani, which Giuliani is, it's Giuliani. But you can search exactly like I said. Just search advertising and media recruiter in Asia. I'll be coming up number one. Or I do have on Facebook where I show and instruct and provide tips on LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn sales funnels for entrepreneurs. So if you want to open up LinkedIn as another tool for yourself, feel free to come into the group. LinkedIn LinkedIn sales funnels for entrepreneurs. And happy to have you there if you want to learn.
Awesome. You cut out for a second there, but we'll make sure we have a link to your group.
Cool.
In-depth action steps and maybe a little personal.
Yeah, for sure.
So appreciate time. I know it's almost your lunch time.
Yeah.
It's almost my bedtime. Really appreciate your expertise and everything you shared with us today. And see you if they do have more questions. Love to see more.
Oh, just cutting out.
I hope you all need it. If you ever have questions, to drop comments in this group. Are you with me?
Oh, I just cutting out right at the end, at the important part. Yeah. No, my pleasure. So really, thanks. And I just hope to see
you all soon.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.